Welcome. Sit down, roll up, pour up, turn up and tune in. Because you're now watching the Buncher Bull Network.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the world we know. I'm your host, Greg Lamont. Get ready for some good ass conversation. Make sure to sit back, spark up, sip, and get ready. We about to get into some good shit. New week, new issues, new opportunities. There's a lot of shit that's been happening this week. A lot of strange shit too. Like I'm sure motherfuckers are seeing strange shit popping up every day. But one of the weirdest things that I've noticed in the past week that NASA came out and said is that they're apparently claiming that now we have two moons until 2083, which I don't really know how that shit works. But yeah, for anybody who's been probably on TikTok, Instagram, and has somewhat of a science algorithm, you should have seen that NASA came out and said that there's two moons, which I'm kind of torn about it because, like, I feel like I'm not the only person who has been in the middle of the day, just walking around and looking up and being like, "Why is the moon?"
Like a quasi moon.
Yeah,
More like a
ash.
satellite.
Yeah.
Not like satellite in the like.
I know what you mean,
mechanical term,
like
satellite
a
as
rock that orbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Apparently, it's
quasi moon.
it's defined to be a quasi moon, which is like uh, it's like a satellite, and a satellite just simply means an object that orbits another object, like a the moon's a satellite because it orbits Earth. So yeah, it's supposed to be here till 2083, they believe. Now here's where I'm torn because like this might not be connected, but sometimes I've felt like, okay, maybe there's another moon because in the middle of the day you look up, you see a moon in the sky, and then sometimes you'll see something else here. You'll be like, what the fuck's that? But I'm also torn because NASA, the organization, the agency, has been reclassified by the Trump administration as a spy agency, which to me is like, if you think,
The only thing they're spying on is the fucking stars.
well, yeah. I mean, so we think,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is like,
right? But it's just like, it's just like weird to me because it's like NASA over the past 15-ish years probably hasn't really done much in the space industry. Like it's really been mostly a SpaceX and other, I wouldn't say contractors, but other private companies in that field that's been making the breakthroughs, like self-landing rockets, like cheaper commercial space flight, things of this sort. NASA, all they really do is like, they're kind of like the stamp of approval anymore. Like you see NASA and you go, okay, maybe it's official. I feel like that's all NASA is nowadays. Like, but being classified as a space agency, not space agency, as a spy agency, I feel like I need to look into it because why? Well, actually, let's ask ChatGPT why. Why has NASA been reclassified as a space agency? Why has NASA been reclassified by the Trump administration as a space? No, not space. As a spy agency. Here's a breakdown, blah, blah, blah. August 28, 2025, an executive order that included NASA and several other agencies to have as a primary function intelligence. Okay, so this makes more sense. It says that the order determines them to have a primary function of intelligence, counterintelligence, investigative, or national security work. So NASA's intelligence. So uh, I guess it's not so much stars, but yeah, okay. That's why ChatGPT is a motherfucker. But yeah, two moons. Y'all let me know how you feel about two moons. If y'all believe it, if you don't, like, if it's really a moon, because my thing is, how do they know? They're claiming it's here until 2083. How do you know specifically 2083 that it's here till? It's just a little sketchy to me. But yeah, yeah. So another question that I've been having for myself recently, uh, in the world of music, is, well, not so much recently, but really since just yesterday, I was going through this content, and it was talking about the best pop artists and the best hip hop artists of each decade. And I was thinking, who is the best pop and hip hop artist of the 1980s and above? Like, so I'd love to hear y'all watching this in the future, y'all's comments and y'all's input down below. But if I had to go 1980s and above, because I don't know if there even was hip hop in the 70s. Maybe there was, but I don't know any hip hop heads. But I feel like most people would give the 80s for pop to Michael Jackson, uh, maybe for rock to Queens, but for pop, Michael Jackson, and then rap. Yo, when was the NWA doing their thing? Was that the 80s or is that the 70s? The NWA.
I want to say that had to have been 80s.
Okay.
I want to say that's like 80s into 90s.
All right. Would you say were they like the biggest of the 80s, or was it Dre? Or I mean, I guess he was NWA, but like who's the biggest? I mean, there was Rakim. Like he,
We're talking purely like hip hop.
yeah. I'm going decade by decade, and I'm trying to think who had the biggest decades.
Yeah, around then it would have probably been NWA.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I feel like NWA is who people remember the most today.
yeah.
So, like, it's still pop culture, kind of. All right, so for the 80s, we're going to go NWA, Michael Jackson. For the 90s, it's not hard at all for rap. I mean, Tupac. Well, Tupac and Biggie, you could put them there, I guess. But uh, the 90s, don't get me wrong, the 90s had Snoop, Dre, a little bit of Eminem, Nas, Biggie, Pac, whoever, but definitely Pac and then Biggie, in my opinion. Excuse me. And for pop, hmm, for pop in the 90s, I mean, you could say MJ again, but if you're not repeating, then I'd probably go Prince, or it is back. See, this is how y'all know I don't know perfect music history, but is Backstreet Boys, is that 90s or 2000s?
9.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go
Yeah, but it was like later 90s going into
like 98ish. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna have to go Prince for the 90s, Prince and Tupac, pop and hip hop. 2000s, I'm gonna have to agree with the list that I was looking at yesterday. Probably, actually, I was going to say 50 Cent, because 50, everybody, like 50 synonymous with hip hop, I feel like. But really thinking about it, you might have to give it to Eminem in the 2000s. I don't know. 50 Eminem, that's a toss up. And then 2000s pop. Who took over 2000s pop? Probably go. I really don't want to give it to her, but I feel like it would probably be like Beyonce or somebody of that sort. I don't really know too many male pop artists from the 2000s, to be honest with you, but I'd probably have to give it to Beyonce, probably, for 2000s pop, and then 2010s hip hop and pop. I was thinking it's pretty easy, in my opinion. 2010s hip hop. I mean, it's controversial, but I feel like it's also statistically facts. Is Drake for hip hop, and then biggest pop decade. You could go Bruno Mars. You could go Justin Bieber. He maybe had half the decade. Go. Who owned it in pop? I'd probably have to go with Justin Bruno Mars. I'd go Bruno Mars. He was pretty consistent throughout the whole decade. And then who is going to own the 2020s decade? To me, I feel like, though I'm not a big fan of him, I've been becoming more into his music recently. I feel like right now, NBA YoungBoy is controlling hip hop for the 2020s so far. And I feel like NBA YoungBoy. I'd go Drake too if it wasn't a repeat, but NBA YoungBoy, and for pop, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me because I've never fucking heard her music playing, and I don't have friends who play it. Like, I don't know how she gets so much numbers, but Taylor Swift would probably have to be the pop option for the 2020s. Just because she's somehow selling 2 M's a fucking record.
Taylor Swift will forever be the top for as long as she decides to make music for some reason.
Well, she's the top she's the top first week sales and record sales right now. But if you look at like overall like rankings, like who charted the most, like that is Drake. Like I just seen this thing pop because today's his birthday.
Yeah, but he started before she did.
You think?
Yeah.
Let's ask ChatGPT. When did Taylor Swift release her first single? She released her first single called Tim McGraw on June 19th, 2006. It peaked at number 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. I didn't know that it was that far back. When did Drake release his first single? Drake released his first single, Replacement Girl, on March 13th, 2007. So they started like a year apart. But on the overall fucking thing, like, let me see. Here it is. Like, he's the most streamed artist of all time. He has the most charting songs. He has the most number ones for male solo artists. Most top 10s of all time, top 40s, top 20s, most rapper with the most songs over 1 billion. I mean, that doesn't really matter. He has the most RIAA certifications, most platinum hit singles of all time, most diamond plaques of any artist, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I don't know. All I'm hoping, though, is he doesn't fucking disappoint with this Iceman, because really, like, the way shit's moving, if he plays it lazy, I think if Drake thinks, like, oh, I still got all the pool, blah, 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 and he plays it kind of lackluster, lazy with this album, this shit's going to fuck him up. It's going to tarnish his career. Talking about tarnishing, let's talk about this Jake Paul versus Tank. I'm going to give y'all my current perspective on it. Could I use that light one more time, please? My current perspective on this, I think this is how it's going to play out, y'all. So this Tank versus Jake Paul fight, most of us would think it's fake, right? You first see it, you first hear about it. It's like Tank's 135. He fights at 135, and he's 5'5", I think, something like that. Jake Paul is 6'2", 220, right? So it's like, be real. It's not gonna be a real fight. But here's the thing: if you look at this fight, there's a lot on the line with this Jake Paul Tank fight. So if Tank loses, right? If Tank loses to Jake Paul, he loses pretty much all respect from the boxing community. He makes the boxing world look foolish, and I mean his career's fucked. Like, you did this in your prime, you got fucked by a YouTuber. Now if Jake Paul gets knocked out by Tank, then Tank, he's a hero. Uh, he's a hero for boxing. Everybody wants Jake Paul knocked out. Um, and there's that. However, if Jake, here's why this fight could be serious. Because if Jake Paul gets knocked out by Tank, people will respect it more because they'll be like, okay, nobody wants to get knocked out, right? So they're like, okay, maybe he's being for real now. So more people, I believe, would tune into the next fight. Now, if they go out there and they just dance around and go the distance, both of their images are tarnished. People are going to be like, I'm not going to watch this shit anymore. It's a waste of time, blah, 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 blase, blase. But yeah, I'm just saying this to say, I feel like this fight could be serious because if you look at they're training pretty serious. Jake's sparring with Shakur Stevenson and other people. He's losing weight. He's not trying to put on muscle. Tank's going hard if you watch his footage, like digging in the body, like it's he's going for real. Oh yeah, plus there's a knockout bonus. So like if y'all need all the reasons of why this could be a real fight, mind you, I'm not a fan of Jake Paul. Like, I like to see him get knocked out too. But but I respect him as a businessman. If y'all need to know why this could be a real fight, one, the judges of it are going to be real sanctioned, certified judges who do pro matches. Two, there's going to be a winner. This fight isn't able to end in a draw. There has to be a winner. But three, there's a knockout purse. There's a knockout bonus. So if you get a knockout, your pay increases substantially. So why wouldn't these guys want to knock each other out even more, right? It only makes sense. So I think that that while most of us expect it to be another floozy, like another fucking like a Tyson fight, I think these guys are gonna go at it. They're gonna go for real. Cause like Tank, if you go out here and you look like a dumbass, the boxing world is not gonna respect you no more, and your stock goes down. If Jake goes out here and he looks like it's rigged or just like a fake fight, then nobody's gonna want to watch this shit no more. Like, you're pretty much wrapped after this. So yeah, that's my take on it. That's why I think it could be a real fight. My initial prediction on the fight is that Jake Paul knocks Tank out because Tank's 5'5" and he's like so much smaller or whatever. But my predictions have changed because Tank has fought. There's a fighter named Mario Barrios, right? And Tank knocked out Mario Barrios. Tank fought Mario Barrios at the highest weight he's ever officially fought in his career, which was 140. Mario Barrios is 6'1". Actually, no, he's 6 foot. Let me ask you. How tall is boxer Mario Barrios?
Boxer Mario Barrios is 5 feet and 10 inches, 178
Okay,
centimeters tall.
so 5'10". I don't know why he'd be listed as 6 foot then, but 5'10". Jake Paul's a 3-inch difference. Tank had no issue reaching Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios looked substantially taller than him. He had no issue reaching his chin. Easy. So I think it's a more even fight than I thought it was initially. That's just my current thoughts on it. Yes, sure. Yep. Now here's another question I have for y'all. Something I was contemplating over the past several days doing journaling and such. Is success more based on knowledge or connections? Is success more about your knowledge or your connections? Because on one hand, you might know people, but you don't know shit. Or you might know shit, but you don't know people. Right? So which one bounds you more towards success is my question. Knowledge or connections? Given that you're driven on both sides, right? So let's break it down. This is off top too. Let's break it down. So I believe wealth is knowledge. Knowledge is wealth. And I believe that what separates a wealthy person from a rich and a poor person is wealth. Because you could hit the lottery. You could have two people. One person hits the lottery. The other person gets a business grant, right? One person hits the lottery for $100 million. The other person gets a business grant for $5 million. Whose money goes faster? The person who hit the lottery. Why? Because of knowledge, experience. I think that by just knowing certain things is what sets you apart and gives you a much longer survival than others. But I also feel like if you want to be successful in business, and if you want to be successful in entertainment, then you have to have some sort of connections. You don't have to be connected to like a Leonardo DiCaprio or a fucking Jeff Bezos or somebody like that. But you need to know people who know people, or know people who know shit, or know people who can give you good rates, or do this or do that, connect you. So connections are very important too, because there's nothing better than having hands-on experience, mentors, and just real people to learn from. So I feel like they're both close, but no matter who you know, if you don't have Jesus, Scooby Snack like a motherfucker. If you don't have the brain to know shit yourself, you're fucked. No matter who you know, if you don't have the brain to know shit yourself, you're fucked. So I think it's more about knowledge, more about what you know, not who you know. But who you know may matter too. I think it will slowly matter less as AI starts becoming a scary motherfucker. But yeah, the Ali Act has been changed / removed. Let me actually see what did. So Dana White and the UFC have been campaigning and rallying about the Muhammad Ali Act. Let's see, it's loading. All right, the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act, which was it's pretty much how boxing is regulated. So the Muhammad Ali Act was made to make sure that fighters get some sort of pay, right? That was what was said to be the theme or purpose of the Muhammad Ali Act. It would create provisions for unified boxing organizations as an alternative regulatory framework for boxing, yada, 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 yada. So let me just see if I can pull up what Dana White Ali Act. Okay, so Dana White plans on adding on to the Muhammad Ali Act for his boxing promotion, not change its core text, allowing fighters to choose between the existing act and a new version with his company. So what Dana White's planning on doing with boxing, which I think is fucking necessary, it needs to happen in boxing, and it's for boxing's greater good, is he's gonna bring in a league per se, like how basketball has the NBA and how football has NFL, baseball, MLB, et cetera, et cetera. There will be a boxing league where that the same way he owns UFC and UFC is the league for MMA, right? Uh, the boxing league is going to be like you do combines pretty much, and you have these fighters compete, blah blah blah, earn a spot in the league. Whenever you get a spot in the league, you get a salary per se, or a contract of how much you'll make per fight per year, et cetera, so that you can at least survive. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of people believe boxers make a lot of money, but I challenge you to think of some wealthy boxers who are retired and well, like think of some wealthy boxers besides Floyd Mayweather, and it's hard. It really is hard because it doesn't happen a lot. The only people who really make the money in boxing are the top dogs, like the and not even the best boxers, like just the biggest names. They make the good money, but they don't always keep it. So I say this to say a lot of boxers who are coming up, they're still working 9 to 5s. They're still like Alex Pereira was. I think he was doing construction or some shit like that, or working on tires or something. Like most of these boxers and fighters are working jobs, but what a boxing league would do would allow you, once you make it in the league, you don't have, like, you shouldn't be in the NBA working a job. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be in the NFL working at fucking Wendy's. You get me? Like, you should be doing what you're doing, working on becoming the best you could be, because that is the product that sells, is your skill set. And by doing that, you make more money because you could focus on what you need to focus on, like, not other shit. And you could take care of yourself and your family. Like, it makes sense. It just doesn't really make sense to me how the Ali Act was kind of like, it was good and bad because it brought in the pay-per-view model. And the pay-per-view model, I feel like, fucked up boxing because, like, yeah, we're bringing in money because people's paying. But it's, like, kind of fucked because I don't pay to watch other sports, so why am I paying to watch your sport? And then it's, like, you're going to lose a lot of viewers because it's just 100% impossible that everybody who used to have you on their television set just playing, that all of them are going to go and spend money on watching all of your fights. It's not going to happen. So you're going to lose a lot of viewership. And with Dana White's boxing league, he plans on putting it on subscription-based places like a Netflix, like a Paramount, which is where UFC's at now, shit like that. So if you just have one of these memberships, the same way if you have cable television or shit like that, you could watch the fight. I'm excited for it. I think a boxing league's dope as fuck, and I think that we need it. I think that at first it's gonna be a little like, these motherfuckers a little bit boring and shit, and I don't know any names, but after you watch it for a while, I think you're gonna see some cream of the crop fighters and just better, like a better product. Maybe it could be a worse product, but it could be very much so better product. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, Dana White coming into boxing, doing his thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, top three, not top three, but three of the top cartel members were just taken out yesterday. Let's see. 3 top cartel members taken out. There was just a press conference done yesterday with Donnie T and Pete Hegseth talking about there were B-2 bombers flying over Venezuela yesterday. Blah, blah, blah. Did you mean taken out and killed in recent U.S. strikes? Arrested, blah, blah, blah. All right, so look. So before I get into this, make sure y'all tap in every single Friday at 2:30 for The World We Know. Every single Friday at 6 p.m. for Stash Spots. And every single Saturday at 8 p.m. for Marley's State of Mind. Make sure y'all there every week. Be there, be fair, It's Bunch of Bulls on all platforms. That's Kick, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. But yeah, make sure y'all be there. Be square. But 3 top cartel members were taken out. It says recently in arrest. No, 3 strikes. There was a strike on a drug trafficking vessel, a submarine. Let's see. There were submarines, there were boats. Let's see. Cartel members taken out. Recent strike. So, anyways, yesterday there was a press conference done where Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, and Donnie T were talking about these members of the cartel who were just recently arrested, and they found thousands of newborn babies dead and organs being harvested from these cartel members. They said they were selling them for about $20,000 a piece. It's some sick shit. It's some twisted shit, and it's some exciting shit. Because I feel like if you're an American, you just gotta be proud and happy that you got a president who would do some shit like this. Like, 8 wars ended 10 months, 17 trillion investments. Now he's trying to take out the fucking cartel. Now, only thing he needs to do is stop bending the knee to Israel. But, besides that, yesterday there was B-2 bombers over Venezuela. And just a week, I think closer to 2 weeks ago, what is it? He was talking about, a reporter asked him, y'all could find this clip. A reporter said, is it true that Maduro, the president of Venezuela, called you on the phone and left you a voicemail and said that I will give you all the resources in the country, please just have mercy? And Trump said, he replied, he was like, very true, and it's because nobody wants to fuck around with the U.S. Now, I'm saying Biden could never, Kamala could never, Barack Obama could never. I mean, he could if he had some nuts and he wasn't with a man, but, like, I feel like just having a president who would talk his shit but not be war-based. I mean, he did change the Department of Defense to Department of War, so maybe he is, but I don't know. I'd rather have a president with nuts than a motherfucker who just docile and lets Putin smack him around. That's all I'm saying. But, yeah. Now, my next question is, who is the closest artist to MJ? MJ is in Michael Jackson. Ever. All time. I'm not talking about current. But even if you talk about current, there has been a lot of talks about NBA YoungBoy being close to MJ. Now, my take on this is close as an influence, kind of for hip-hop. Like, in hip-hop, his influence is strong. His influence, I think he impacts the entire fucking genre as a whole. And he's like a villain and becoming a hero. But as far as talent, skills, shit like that, no. As far as career, no. Now, he's been making music since he was 7, right? So that's fire. That's good. Like, he's been making music since 3rd grade. But you can't really compare nobody to him unless it's fucking Chris Brown. But, like, we're talking about blowing up at 10, 11, getting hits in. Bieber, Brown, that's closer. But, I mean, YoungBoy, I don't really see people storming the way that the recent viral footage of the motherfucker storming him after the New Orleans show and cops having to take him to his car. I don't really see shit like that. So I say it's kind of like MJ. But MJ had to wear fucking costumes. I'm talking masks, costumes, fake teeth, fat suits to go out in public and sometimes still get spotted. So he had to buy a whole grocery store just to shop. Like, not buy them and own them, but, like, rent them out. So, I don't know. I don't think it's that close. But, Yeah. My last question for the day is shake versus lows. Which way is it to go? Shake versus lows. What is the better option? If I'm looking at it, me and myself, I'm gonna go shake. Cheaper. It's from real actual gas. Uh, Lows is just guaranteed low. So shake versus low, you gotta go shake. I recommend y'all get base smoke shake. If you get any shake, which is this shake, tap into that. I'm gonna get me a fucking. Actually, I'm definitely gonna get me an affiliate link and get a code and start putting it in this shit, so y'all can start buying my shit. But all right, y'all. That's it for this week of the world we know. 1 second. Yo, Jesse, I'm finishing it. All right, y'all. That's it for this week of the world we know. I'm Greg Lamont. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Peace.